This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
When buying or selling your home, call Leo Bato. He has years of experience in real estate, showing honesty and integrity in every transaction. He's a person you can definitely trust. So book your appointment with Leo Bato today by giving him a call at 818-648-4837 or by visiting him on the web at www.leobato.realtor.
This episode is brought to you by ABBA E-Services.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, live at Paco's Place, Gene Loves Jezebel, Michael Aston.
Yep.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, good night. Been a pleasure.
I mean, how you do get this a lot, right? But when like we look up to you,
As you should.
yes, sir, Your Royal Highness.
I'm taller than you.
I know, yeah. But this whole time, your career spanning 1, 2, 3, 4, more than 5, almost
Almost
golden.
9 years now, yes.
No. For almost 5 decades.
It's
Is it
about 40 years, yeah.
right? Yeah, 40 years only. No.
Well, I'm only 72.
Okay. when you started, did you ever think it was going to last this long?
Of course.
Tell me the mindset of when you say of course, like some people.
No, I don't. I was taking the piss. No, of course you don't. Anyone starts 1 year, the biggest thrill of your life is to make a record, get it released. And that is the pinnacle of the height of all your dreams.
Right.
You know?
And then
Your friends, all your local mates, you're suddenly a rock star. That's all you need, you know. You can suddenly get a girlfriend. So, no, you don't. No one really dreams of a career, you know. I don't
okay,
think.
so one album you made that. The journey to the first album, was it more of an obstacle kind of thing? Was it an easy path?
Oh, it's a joy. Because everything was new to you. You never played live before. You'd never stayed in a bed and breakfast before. You never visited a different city, a different town. You never appreciated new cultures, new people. I'm talking about going as far as Scotland, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a brand new experience for us. Never been on an airplane. Suddenly you're flying to New York, you know. I mean, I come from a small village near a steel town. So no one that we knew had became anything, you know. So for us, it was a wonderful ride, incredible experience.
But when you say no one you knew was into what you guys were doing, is it safe to say that when you were doing what you were doing, there were detractors going, no, why don't you just get a job?
Oh yeah, my parents kicked us out of the house because we were too noisy. We had this little mono cassette recorder, which, being twins, we had to share, which was the origins of our misery, I would guess, or our problems. So, but yeah, he'd play a little bit of guitar and I'd sing, and my parents said, "Turn that bloody noise down," and kicked us out. So I left home when I was barely 16.
Wow.
So that's not knock my parents. They're wonderful. We did make a racket, and there was a large family in a small house, so you could appreciate their discomfort.
Large family.
Plus, my dad was working shifts. You know,
how many siblings?
there's eight kids. So
And you,
7 boys, 1 girl.
you and your brother were siblings number what?
We were mid. I'm number 5, so he'd be number 6. Yeah.
Huh. So now, and normally what happens is your worst critic is a family member. Your number one supporter is a stranger. Did you say that was applicable like in the house? Was it like that?
I don't think we didn't believe in ourselves, and no one around us believed in ourselves. It took time. I think the first time anyone believed in us was when I'd moved to London, and I'd asked my brother and Ian Hudson, the guitar player, to join us, and we made our first demo. And myself and Ian walked around every label, every address we could find, from EMI to Virgin, and we dropped one off at Beggar's Banquet, which was in Earl's Court, a very small, tiny place which had 3 labels: 4AD, Situation 2, Beggar's Banquet. But I dropped it off, and Situation 2 picked it up and called me back up on the landline, and I went back over there, and they offered to give us an audition night. So the
Showcase, like a showcase. Yeah.
At the Rock Garden. You know,
Okay.
I was saying a story earlier about U2 playing with the Bunnymen. The next night they played the Rock Garden, which is a tiny venue. Well, this was a showcase for Gene Loves Jezebel. We were known as Slavarian at the time.
Slavarian,
So we weren't even Gene Loves Jezebel. So we did the showcase, and they said, "Great, we love you. Let's do an EP." So I went back to Situation 2, which I say it's one room with 3 labels: Beggar's Banquet, 4AD,
And Situation 3.
like legendary labels now.
Yeah.
You know. So the Associates, Bauhaus. I mean,
Bauhaus, yeah.
you know, the Cult. So many great Adele, I guess. Who knows? So, but I go in there, and the guy offers Peter Kent, who signed us for this one EP. You know, gave me all these records for free, and which was unbelievable because I'd paid for everything my entire life. You know, so suddenly people were giving me things. So yeah, we made the EP, and we basically never looked back. You know.
Okay. When the EP came out, there were what? There were just 3 of you in the band. Or was it a full band by then?
Oh, well, the band, Gene Loves Jezebel, in conception, was basically my brother and I.
Okay.
And in fairness, Ian Hudson too, the guitar player.
You're right. Just the 3 of you, right?
So the players would change around all the time. Even up to the 80s, we'd had 4 different guitar players, probably 6 or 7 different bass players, any number of drummers. So it was always essentially the twins,
right?
If only a visual thing. But essentially what Gene Loves Jezebel was the twins, you know. For all intents and purposes, people really didn't give a damn who played guitar, you know.
Yeah.
So me neither, but not true, having fun.
That being said, though, who wrote the songs predominantly? Was it you or your brother?
Both of us, yeah.
What was the dynamics like when you guys were writing songs?
Well, Jay would come up, well, Ian too. So most of the songs I would write would be with Ian.
Not with Jay.
No, Jay would do his songs, but what I would do with his songs, I might work on the melody or the lyric, because I never felt his real strength was a lyric, you know. And that's not being too harsh. It's just he's very good melodically, and he was really interesting musically. Where Ian was very strong musically and had a more potent, more powerful, more vibrant, more emotional, you know, which lent itself to the way that I wrote. So we'd bounce along songs like Always a Flame or Bruises, Upstairs, the more kind of, I would say the more left field rock, you know.
Yeah.
So Jay would have the more quirky and the sweet, you know. The whole combination actually lent itself. Everyone contributed.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you guys are a band now. No manager at this point. It was just you guys, or was there?
No manager. I was the manager, essentially. Yeah. I made all the decisions. I led the band. I decided what we would do and wouldn't do. I found the dates, the agents,
the dress, the dress, the image.
I even made the clothes. I painted their clothes. You see all the early stuff with all the painted shirts. You see all the artwork. That was my work, you know. So
what was the conversation? And the reason why I'm asking is because people don't know how important the image is. I mean, visual and audio.
It's very important. Yeah,
they go
particularly in those days, because if you think of the early mid '80s, you were competing with young, beautiful,
right,
far out, you know, everything from Boy George, Southern Death Cults. I mean, everyone had a great look.
It was an androgynous look, yeah.
Even the likes of U2 had to have silly haircuts and wear daft clothes, you know. So being good wasn't. You needed to be more than just good. You needed to have an angle, as someone would call it. What do you guys have? Well, we were lucky because we had twins already, you know. I mean, I think we would have been okay if we just turned up in a pair of jeans and bare-chested
But
because
that
we
would
were
have been.
twins.
But that would have been Nelson.
Well, no, but I don't think Nelson could write songs like we could. You know?
Amen.
They couldn't write songs about
Amen.
having sex with your mother, you know. although I did have sex with him with her.
Oh, are we there yet? Okay. The reason why I'm asking this part of the conversation is because, number one, conversations like this in bands normally get into heated arguments when one goes, "This is the look we're going for." No, this is the look I want to go. Oh no, you do that, I'll do this. But in your case, when you guys first came out, it was a cohesive image.
It was, yeah. Well, we were twins too, so we grew up together. We're influenced by many of the same things.
Right.
My wife at the time was in an art college, so I mean, I was hanging out with people who later became iconic art, fashion figures. I'm not going to drop names. They weren't anyone then, but that was the kind of influence. We had artistic people around us, writers, all our friends. Were artistic, creative people, So it was important for us to be as original and creative as we could possibly be, because if we weren't, you didn't exist.
Yeah.
So it was us against the world. It was always more left field. We came from a very socialist, working class background. It was an interesting dynamic, So.
And then the songs became like not left field, but how many songs became a commercial success?
Well, that's a great.
Right? Like
your idea of the success of Gene Loves Jezebel is my impression of our failure. I thought we were better before.
This is interesting.
Emotions of love and desire. I thought we were much
deeper than
far
that. Yeah.
more important, far more valuable entity before the pop songs.
So who's not fault but decision maker?
Well, I think it changed when Ian Hudson. We did our first American tour. We'd already written Desire, and it sounded a little different. But to me, that was as far commercial as we should have gone, But Ian had a nervous breakdown on the tour. Then I had to bring in another guitar player who I'd seen in another band, and the only guitar player I'd seen. So I basically asked my manager to call up the only guy I'd seen. So he came in to play guitar. He eventually ended up staying, but he brought in, because he played with the Kim Wilde band, a couple of dodgy punk bands, but it's more straight ahead rock and roll, poppy, we're the kids in America.
Yeah.
Oh, la la la. So that lent itself more to Jay's side, which was
the quirky,
poppy, yeah. Hey baby, it's blue. Are you true? I think I've seen you.
What you get is what you see.
Sorry, I left some goo in your panties. That's was where he comes from.
So when this was happening, what was going through your head?
Well, I was still pushing my side because I'd still be doing. I'd still be doing the more romantic, like the heartaches.
Right.
I'd still be writing the choruses, like "Gorgeous" to be my chorus.
Yeah.
But lyrically, we were at odds because I felt it was too late. We were now in our 26, 27, 28 years of age. We'd started off writing songs about true pain, true experience, grit, incest, and suddenly we're writing. It's like it would be like the Beatles doing Lonely Hearts Club as their first record and Love Me Do as their last. It was in reverse.
Instead of getting deeper.
So they were just selling out. I don't think selling out. I don't think it's part of their personalities. But suddenly, in the past, I would have Ian on my side, for example. I had something to break it up. Now I had two guys and a bass player who just wanted to be Duran Duran.
Nothing against them. It's just that
that's what
wasn't
they
the
wanted.
direction. Yeah, exactly.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
But it wasn't me. So I came to a point where it was agonizing for me. So I didn't want to be part of it.
So how difficult or easy was it to be true to yourself in front of them, to tell them, guys, this is not.
Oh no, we fought. I'm a very straight speaking person. Unlike them, who are backstabbing bastards. They work behind your back. So they worked very hard to isolate me. You got to remember, I put the band together. I moved first. Every member of that band was down to me. in the early days, I sang mostly and did everything from the artwork
Yes.
to singing, being the lead singer in the band. Jay was the backup singer. But suddenly they moved it all around, which was, I understood it, but it lacked courage. It was cowardly to what they did. You know, it was a horrible thing. So, but you asked the origins and where it went and whatever it was. So, but it was two different bands. What should have happened when I was moved out, left, the band should have split up. They should have gone on. They wanted to call themselves the Jezebels, which would have been fine.
Right.
But I think they were pressed by Geffen
To maintain the
to
name.
maintain the name. But they didn't have a Gene. And it didn't, in America particularly, it didn't work because the second I left the band, they went, I can't say we, because we went from playing Universal Amphitheatre, selling out in 3 hours, they were suddenly playing small clubs because they didn't have the twins, you know.
Yeah.
And then they turned it round. It's like a paradox. Well, that's just a myth. It was just the twins. That's what they think. But the real Gene Loves Jezebel was us guys. So, and they continued, made 2 more records, but nothing happened, and it came to
Wait,
an end.
Jay and Company made 2 more
2 more
records.
records, Kiss of Life and Heavenly Bodies. Okay, yeah, took a
Okay,
while.
what were you doing around this time?
This time I was doing my solo work. I did Edith Grove. I made a solo record. I'd met my wife. So I was a very, very, very happy person. But Jay came back to me multiple times because fuck all was happening with his life.
Okay.
So he wanted me to bail him out. And every time I
Right.
bailed him out came the knife, you know. So...
Twins. Let's talk about that.
No, all from him, not from me, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm coming to his rescue. And every time I rescue him,
There's a
he
knife.
fucking throws me out of the boat. So he needs help, you know.
Yeah, then you can only take so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many bad stories. I don't want to go into
No,
that.
we're not
but,
gonna we're not gonna go
which
into
the
that
last
story.
time I saw the dude was 20 years ago. I saw, you know, or more. So
Okay. I have twin siblings, and
you got to remember, we were like this.
I was gonna say
till we were 40.
that's why.
In 1997, I would have taken a bullet for him. And then overnight, one final betrayal, I said, "That's it."
So
Done,
that's what I was going to allude to, because I see my twin sisters, they're solid. So it really has to take something
Oh, something massive, yeah, massive.
for you to
You don't
create a
expect. I would never expect. He would be the last person in my 64 years of existence that I would expect to betray me or to stab me in the back. So, pretty big. All the twins that I've ever known are like this.
Yeah.
They love each other. You know, we spent 40 years together, living together, walking together, going to the pub together, the coffee shop together, day and night, side by side, like that, going, for what? For a washed up band? You know, to sing, you know, let's be honest, the 80s is a long time ago. You're going to give all that up to sing Emotion of Love and Heavenly Bodies to 100 people? Or go on tour with The Alarm, a band you hated and slagged off? I mean, they're playing with bands none of us liked, you know, and suddenly they're all... The guitar player's playing with The Alarm. I used to slag them off all the time. And to see them now, they're all buddies, you know, come on, you fucking hypocrite. You fucking cockroach.
principle based. That's how I see you.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
man of principle,
Right.
and that's non-negotiable. The whole like
Well, no, I try to help them out, but it comes to a point. I mean, I can't patronize you.
you can't.
You know,
Yeah.
my wife always said to me, I could never get a job because I had to be the boss. I have a problem too. You know, we're going to New York tomorrow. If I say we're going to the New Mexico route, guess which route we're going? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, we're not going past Phoenix. I hate Phoenix, but it would have to be my goal, my ambition. You know, comes to a songwriting. If you write a stupid word, or I you know, and vice versa, you can criticize me too. I mean, I'll take it well, but I'll accept it. It's not good. Fair enough.
As long as it's face to face, no backstabbing.
No, as
say it
is.
to my
yeah,
face.
Yeah. How do you
right?
feel? Yeah. This is how I feel. You know, better or worse. You know me for what I am, you know. That's no way to succeed, by the way, unless you're an artist. And to me, it's essential in a real artist to be truthful, you know. What have you got to share about your life's experiences, about your feelings, your emotions, your pain, your joy, your love. You know, so, I heard a Leonard Cohen interview once, and he said something really smart. He must have been in his 60s, 70s, and he said, if you're writing songs at my age, you should be able to impart something. You must have learned some fucking thing.
Yeah.
And he said about Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger, in his 60s, 70s, he still wants to get fucking laid. That's his whole baby. He's an old fucking man with a toupee. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure. Well, but how many times can you play that guy? It's ridiculous.
Or Satisfaction.
Well, I mean, its satisfaction, its time is magnificent.
It is, but then
you
again,
want to see a young person
exactly, yes, that's what I meant.
You know.
This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
Like you're 70 something and you're still.
But no, I mean, do what you want. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the law. You know, who cares?
But then again, isn't that subjective? Like,
Yes,
like
it
what
is,
could be a sellout to you could be
Totally, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
A version of
Well, I
success.
just said that about my band.
Right.
The fact they wanted to sing silly songs, love songs, is fine. You know,
But you are Gene Loves Jezebel.
I'm part of it. Yeah, a major part of it.
Look at you here, like you're saying right now that you're part of it. Don't you own the name right now?
I own it, but
But
people
see,
contribute.
that's well. Oh, okay, I get it.
I mean, I couldn't have done anything without my brother, and vice versa. You know?
But that's nice. The acknowledgement is still there. It's just that there's a boundary that you can't cross, and you've established that.
Right.
But now today, like before the pandemic, you guys were very active still. Like you, particular, and the band was very active still.
Well, I love to perform and I love to travel. I mean, I've always said, if you called me tomorrow and said, Michael, you need to be in New York by Saturday, I'm on my way. Having a cigarette, driving, coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning, and loving every second of it. You know?
Okay.
I can remember the travel more than the shows. That's
There
how
you
much
go.
I love it.
Now, you have to play these songs. The Motion of Loves, the
No,
Gorgeous.
I don't.
Really?
No, I don't. I've played shows where I don't. I can play what the hell I want.
I know.
So,
But
we did a show before
But
COVID,
aren't the fans
obviously.
gonna ask for it? I mean, if the
Well,
fans,
we will. If, it's
Okay.
if we're doing an 80s show per se,
Okay.
there's like we've shows coming up with 80s bands. Of course, we have to.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing the Echo in Silver Lake, I'm playing what the hell I want. We're going
Amen.
to play a show in Whiskey soon, you know. And I like playing. Gorgeous. I hate playing Emotional Love, but people love it, so I got no choice but to do it. We played Peru, okay, and there's 5,000 people.
Richie loves Emotion.
Okay, people love it. I know. Okay, I always think it's a language thing. Okay,
Explain.
Well, if anyone can speak real English or ever read any real English, Motion of Love is the poorest romantic song ever written. It's appalling, you know. So I think, like, if you're from Portugal or somewhere, it probably translates really well. Like, Armadora para romantica, lover, viva la rola. But in your own language, it sounds like a ponce, you know. It's like some pansy. It's like,
But it's not. I
hey,
mean,
listen, treasure. You know I'm waiting for you. I want some pleasure. I love those things that you do. What the fuck? Is it a fucking cocksuck or not?
say the next line. Come on, you have backup singers singing. Say the next line.
It's so bad I can't remember it. You know.
Do you know what you want?
I've did not what we did South America, and they go so crazy song. I changed the lyrics of the
Okay.
verse, and the lyrics are hilarious. But because the crowd's all singing along, they don't hear what you're singing anyway. But I was singing, "Moron in love, you're a moron in love," which I think would have been a bigger hit. Maybe I should recut it.
You know, on that, what was Everybody Wants to Rule the World before it was Everybody Wants to Rule the World? It wasn't that. It was similar.
Wants to run the world.
No. But it was along the lines of what Michael said.
Right.
Until they changed it to a more commercial, Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Pretty brilliant. They did a great job on that.
So,
Oh, that guy, the singer in that band, was born the same year and the same day
is you
as me. Yeah.
and your brother?
Yeah.
Roland Orswell?
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? It's quite wild, isn't it?
64.
57.
No, you're 64.
64, yeah. 65 this year. Yeah. Don't forget my birthday now.
When is it?
Pardon?
When is it?
August 22nd.
Oh, party! New day in August. Another day in August.
My kids would take me out, but thank you. I can always bring them, they're adults now.
Well, we'll celebrate it again.
Yeah.
Now, the journey. The journey had a lot of trials, losing a loved one, technically, betrayal, all that stuff. Was it worth it?
No. The only thing that was worth it is I met my wife as a consequence, my 5 kids, but no.
You met Margaret here.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Why'd you move to the States?
Because of him, which is the irony. If we hadn't started, I would never have met her. I wouldn't have my children. So. But if I could do it all again, I wouldn't do it with him. So.
Wait. So Jay convinced
They
you.
pushed me out. So I moved to LA, had a record deal with Virgin, had new management, same management actually. I was essentially on my own, and I met my wife. That was the only good that came of it. So.
How'd you meet Margaret?
She was working at a restaurant. She was
Were you married at the time?
18 years of age. I was 33, 15 years older
Oh,
than
you
her.
cradle
No,
snatcher.
listen. No, grave robber.
Oh, grave robber.
So I met her, and I took her for coffee, and
Wait.
Listen.
Okay, fine.
Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. God. Let me ask you about your fucking story.
No. I just
Okay, I'm
wanted.
telling you what happened.
Okay.
Okay. So I meet her. I give her my number. She calls me. I call her back. I ask her, would she like to go for a coffee or something? She said no, she was washing her hair. This is a true story. So eventually we hook up, and we take her for a coffee. We sit down. I find out how old she is.
18.
18, and I'm 33.
No shame.
No, and I said, no, this is not going to fucking work. Plus, I was a Leo, she was a Taurus.
Ooh.
So, plus I told her the day I met her, because I already had a son when I was 18, which is the same age as she was. I said, I'm not going to have any fucking children. So
You ate your words.
I think she burst into tears, but we've been together ever since, which is 30-something years. I don't know. So some good came of it, some great good.
So my question was, where did you meet?
Where did we meet? In Los Angeles?
Yeah, tell me how big Los Angeles is like.
Okay, it's a restaurant in Los Angeles.
Okay, so a restaurant, you just walked in.
Okay, it's an Asian
She's
restaurant.
There you go, yeah.
It's a place. It's a place on Sunset Boulevard. It's a Chinese restaurant with a California tinge to it, and she worked there, and she was going to school, and I would see her because I ate there often because I had plenty of money, plenty of time, and I'd wake up about 2 or 3 in the afternoon and go for breakfast about 4 or 5.
Look at you!
So, and we started, and we would chat, and I was very attracted to her, but despite everything, I was quite a shy guy. I'm not the kind of guy who could just walk up to a woman and say, "Will I go out?" Eventually, I gave her my number because I thought that was the correct thing to do, the right thing to do. So I didn't want to come across some creep. So eventually she calls me. So I did. I think I followed the protocols, but I do know it will. No matter what I say, it will never look good. But every man I've ever told the story to has gone, "Whoa,
Yeah.
you lucky bastard."
You lucky. Shout out, Margaret. Now, 5 kids. How old's your youngest?
He's 11. Yeah.
What do they know about dad?
He's an asshole.
I don't know why they're laughing. I don't agree, but I don't know why they're laughing.
Well, when your children adore. I adored my father. I don't know how you were with your father, but most children adore their father. So
No, but I mean,
I have a great relationship with my children. They know I have family in Wales, and they have some idea of the incidents that's gone on, and they must never speak to my brother if they see him, just to bury him somewhere in the desert, basically. No, they don't know all that, but they know it would hurt me very deeply. So
if they did,
yeah. So, but they're all fine. I have a great relationship with all my children. I've got a daughter who was the hardest to work with because I'm not used to working with. I only had one sister. But
okay, they're into music too. Some of your children are all of your children.
They're all into music. Yeah.
And they've played with you.
They never heard my songs, though. I would never let them play Gene Loves Jezebel at home. So, and even my wife we'd never play that. In fact, even when we were making records for I Met Anybody, I was the first guy in the studio and the last to leave with the producer working on it. And once we'd finished that last mix, that's the last time I'd hear that song. So.
Wow.
I never ever went back. In fact, as the years have gone by, when I've got new players in the band, and they want to learn the song, I'd realised that we'd evolved so much we didn't play the song close to what it was originally.
Yeah.
The whole thing had changed. The groove had changed, the parts have changed. So then I'd have to go back and listen to what we were doing. Oh, okay. I see what we weren't doing now. Finally got it right.
The new track is that you're working on.
I think it's gonna be amazing, but I may be wrong. But in my life, I know instantly when I've done something that's really gonna be great. When I can't stop playing it, can't stop singing it, and the guy I'm working with is bugging me. He can't believe his luck. But it's lucky for me because I've struggled to find people to write with, I've been fortunate to find like Michael Sirvolos, but not someone where I feel like I'm going in a totally different direction.
What comes first? Like in this case, like you're not writing with your brother, you're not writing with people that you started your career with. Right. How does it feel to actually be okay? Now I'm driving this and I'm working with people.
Well, I'm in a fortunate position because I tend to react. So if you start hitting that drum there and I got a microphone here and you're playing something off, I'll come up with something. That's how I write. I don't write. I'm not sitting with a guitar trying to figure out a tune. I'm kind of more free than most musicians are because vocally you can do a lot more. All melody is here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoy. But I haven't done anything for a few years because I'm just looking. I just want to be inspired because I need to react. I need to feel it. I'm not one of those people who just bell to it. Something's going to work. I have to feel connected with us. Something has to resonate with me. So no, I finally found this guy who I'm curious enough Facebook, which I'm no longer on anymore. He said, why don't you try something different? So I said, sure, send me some stuff. He sent me this one song. I thought, oh, this is great. Let me do this. Or I've already done that with someone else. He played me what this lady had done, and it wasn't great. And I'm thinking, fuck, you wasted what I could turn into magic, in my opinion.
Right.
So I said, okay. I said, well, it's your song. We can rework it. I can rewrite it. He goes, oh, I got some other stuff. So he sent me this short piece of music, and it's like, bam. I had a chorus and a pre-chorus, which usually you come up with a title first or something. Yeah. But this one just instantly pre-chorus. I sang it once.
Pre-chorus first and then chorus and then
pre-chorus.
And let's do the verse after.
Now I'm working on the verses. But now my problem with the verses is that I have so many great fucking lyrics, but the subject matter, because the title is so great, but I obviously can't tell you. I could apply so many different subject matters to it, which would resonate. I mean, it's really powerful, but it's also a huge it's a burden because I have to come up with fucking Imagine, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like just writing a pop song like Desire, you know? Mm-hmm.
I mean, it comes with age also. It's hard to really write songs that, pop songs from when we were younger, when you were younger, to songs now. I mean, now...
I don't think I've changed as a writer though, since I very first began, I've always approached it from a wordy, kind of more, I wouldn't say poetic, that's pretentious, but it's always meant something to me for it to mean something, even from I am slowly pushing on, bruised but only lingering. That's poetry. That's one of the first songs I ever wrote, so it hasn't changed for me. In fact, I think if something happens when you're in your mid-20s,
right?
I think you're at the height of some fucking spiritual, chemical, maelstrom. Something insane is going on. Because all the greatest writers seem to have that, There are exceptions. Like you said, Leonard Cohen, he wrote his greatest songs.
Later in life,
But much later in life. So there's no rules, So that's where I am now. I went through a period of believing in that youth nonsense. It's all about youth, really. Nothing you accomplish is...
I agree.
And I fucking wasted so many years. But now I'm finally dragging myself out of this pit and feeling, oh my God, this song is fucking brilliant. It's going to change people's perceptions of me, what I can do.
Now, when you say people...
Maybe it won't, but it will for me.
Correct. When you say people, when you write songs, is there a target audience?
It's for me. I think I write for myself.
Thank you very much for saying that. I hope everybody caught that because, everybody's like...
I write about my life and heal myself, So.
Right? And then some will, some won't. So what if they don't?
But I know if you look at yourself honestly and write honestly, fucking the worst of yourself as well as the best of yourself, people will relate to that, identify with it. I've been there,
Yeah.
I was that man who lost, this or won that, So.
Are you an apologetic person?
Am I apologetic? Rephrase that. What do you mean?
Like, are you the type of person who likes explaining himself all the time, or you'll just do whatever you feel like doing? And
I don't know. You'd have to give me a circumstance.
Because when you said that, and I'm the same way at this point in my life, where if I'm writing a song, I'm writing it for me.
Right.
I don't need to explain anything to anybody.
Well, this is what I've found probably over the last 10, 20 years of my life when I'm working with people, they respect me now. If I say, when I was younger, you look to a producer, sonically, everything, which always made me nervous anyway, because I always knew my ears were fucking better than theirs,
But you did say anything then.
I did. No, I did. I would fight.
You
That's
did?
why I was always there at the end.
Okay.
There were exceptions. But if it didn't go right and I didn't like it, that song would never make the light of day.
You would put your foot down.
Oh, yeah. And I worked with a guy, Jimmy Iovine, and he said the similar thing to me. He said, I don't want an artist to walk out of here not feeling whole.
Which is good.
Which is good. And I've worked with people, a guy said, don't let them fuck with your dream. Even if it's a bad fucking dream.
Best advice
it's
ever.
your fucking dream.
Yeah.
Don't let them fuck with you. And I did at one point let them fuck with me.
Explain.
Well, I came to America and I was lost. I'd been rejected by my band, my brother. So my self-belief, even though I was signed to a massive fucking label, my self-belief was in tatters. So I went through a period of questioning myself. Even though I remember writing with one guy, I wrote fucking song after song, but I didn't believe in myself anymore. I got so bad at one point, I went to a fucking singing teacher. I'd already sung fucking 6 fucking records and sold a few million records. But that's what doubt it can happen like that. We're all so fragile,
I want to cry.
So, but it hurt me for a long time, fucked me up for a long time. But then I'd met my wife, my son was born, I did an album called Why Me, Why This, Why Now, which is my favorite record I've ever made. And that, I knew when I made that record, I'm a fucking genius. I don't care what anyone says. I'm a creative, capable, I'm an artist. So, fuck you. You can't fuck with me ever again. And no one ever could ever since. So.
Yeah, you went the extra step.
I was so happy. I mean, it was on an independent label, but I was so proud of it. The reviews it got were amazing. Then the Rex records were made, not going back to Gene Loves Jezebel, but I made more Gene Loves Jezebel records, and everyone on limited budgets were better and better than anything I ever did in Gene Loves Jezebel. So I felt whole. So now all I need to do is why the fuck was I aiming for independent labels? I should have been going for the major labels, but this is where my self-belief was. I'd put myself into this,
right.
I don't matter. I'm irrelevant, I'm not young and beautiful. To quote
right.
famous, what's that song? Yeah. What will you think of me when I'm not young and beautiful? That's what I felt, so. But really, I still have all my hair now, and I'm 64.
Mindset, no? I mean, it's your perception of, if you change that mindset.
Oh, no, you make yourself old, yeah. I worked in a steel mill in Men when I was 16 till I was 21. And I remember Men, in their 50s and 60s looking like they were fucking 90. I remember men leaving when they were 65 and dying 2 days later. So, because that's all they had to live for. You know, we are what we do. You know, and if what you're doing isn't making you happy, you're going to fucking be miserable, you know. I believe that to be true.
Okay. A lot of nuggets there. Very inspiring, very and the reason why I'm going to throw this back at you so you can emphasize this. A lot of Filipinos, which is a lot of people in the audience, we're very timid as a culture, as a nation. You know, we know what we want, but sometimes it's hard to express ourselves because we don't want to offend people, to the point that we will sacrifice how we feel and let it eat us inside,
Right.
and not be whole, but keep doing
What's expected.
just to keep the peace and all that. But what you're saying is making me think, what peace are we keeping?
Right.
Your testimonial right now is like, I mean, now you're whole, there's peace and all that. What was the process like? Because there was a dip in your life. Of course, Margaret was there, your son was there.
Right.
But what was the turning point in your life for you to say, enough is enough, this is it, I am claiming what's mine.
Right.
I want to know what the switch was and how it got to that.
Well, I came out of, I'd been through Gene Loves Jezebel. I was a pretty decadent human being. Done everything you might expect a person in my position to do.
Right.
You know, been treated like a god. Didn't believe it a second of it. Thought it was all bullshit anyway, but went along with it. Came out of that. Fell back on my feet. Still removed. I'd lost something, you know, big.
And you had the
big,
doubt
big,
inside, yeah.
big. So it must have taken a couple of years, but after I met my wife, then we had our first son, Oliver, which was the most beautiful experience of my entire life. I swear to God, watching the birth, you know. I just felt everything, that the whole wreck was about her and that experience, you know, my children, you know. My parents were very loving. I mean, I come from a large Catholic family. So my father rubbed off on me, and definitely my mum too. So I love children. I absolutely adore them. So I came with that experience, and I'd met a new guitar player, and we sat down, what kind of record do we want to make? We wrote the record in probably 2 weeks, recorded probably a week.
And this was a record that you liked.
Oh, I loved it. Because it proved to me, because even when I was with my brother Gene Loves Jezebel, he used to accuse me of thinking I was, what are you, fucking Bob Dylan? Because they just wanted sweet and meek and hot and tots, you know. But I wanted to be, just have a little more depth, you know, a little more interesting, you know. Who's going to be shouldn't every song have something of interest, something about you, you know? So, so suddenly I was free. I'd met Triple X and a guitar player named Mick Rossi from a band called Slaughter and the Dogs. Great acoustic player, great little writer, and we just wrote a little record together, and just flew, you know. The lyrics, the melodies, everything just flew. It was magical. So we had nothing, but it's probably the happiest period of my entire life, you know.
Oh, wow. Being true to yourself.
But then I came out of that, so then I just felt empowered, you know. So.
That empowerment.
I just knew they were wrong. I had talent, you know. They were wrong, and all I had was jealousy. I could see, you know, it's not my fault. I was always the funniest guy and always got the girl. I'm sorry. I apologize for that, you know. So.
I'm looking at your wife. No, just kidding. Okay. So now, here's Michael Aston. You could have gone with Michael Aston. Why?
I did go with Michael Aston.
Right. Did go.
Did go. My brother came, wanted to reform Gene Loves Jezebel. I went on the Why Me tour. It was a very short tour.
Right.
We got to New York. He was staying with some rich guy. which we stayed in because our budget was zero, which didn't bother me in the fucking slightest, by the way. We played New York, got great reviews, great reviews of the record. We played Boston, and then we're in Boston. He asked me, we should be back together, because his fucking life had fallen apart, you know. Despite what they or he will tell you, he was nowhere. He was living on the sofa.
And this was after your journey of
all my journey.
enlightenment.
I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
But he's my twin brother.
Right.
Fought for him. Always, we come from the same place.
Yes.
Same fucking womb. So I said, yeah, I thought we were great together too. You know, but this time we'll do it this way. So we did the demos, did that. They'd made some headway in Portugal with their without my input. So they had some success in Portugal. We played there, and the same shit went down. Couldn't work with them anymore. Went on, made another record, Edith Grove, another great record. People around me believed in me, had a great budget. It was a great fucking record. Jay wants to form the band again. So what do? He's my twin fucking brother. Sure. Same thing happens. Times 3. 97. He wants to put the band back together, and I did it this time too. I was ready to do it too. So put the band back together, go on tour. The tour's doing great. Meet this guy, he wants to make a record. The guy, Taylor Robeson, who's since committed suicide, massive Gene Loves Jezebel fan, said, will you make a record? We said yes. And Jay begged me on his hands and his knees to let the old guys come back in. And through
the Mutiny guys.
The Mutiny guys.
Oh.
And through my enlightenment, which was not an enlightenment, I said yes. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Because a more enlightened man would have said no. Fuck you, rotten hell, you motherfuckers. And my brother did exactly the same thing again. But worse, broke my fucking ribs, sued me, lost the lawsuit, and spent over 20 years slandering me and rewriting the history of Gene Loves Jezebel. So there's no forgiveness. And worse, they've made terrible, terrible music since. One crap record in 20 odd years. And it's shit. Even their fans tell them that. But bad people, you know. So, but I'm back to where my sublime period, my enlightenment.
Yeah.
Here I am with another guy writing another record. But it will be me, it will be Michael Aston, who will be nothing. In fact, after this interview, if anyone ever asks me about them or that past, I'll say, done for that.
Thank you.
Who? That's dead. Died 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
What did Margaret say when number 3 happened?
Well, I don't want to say what she said, because in only in as much as you're not being terribly wise, you know. So,
and you know what? It's nice, though, to have a good woman beside you.
Right. As my father said to me when I was 18, you only need one good thing in life. I said, what, Dad? He said, a good woman.
Amen.
So,
which is true.
It is true. Time for a cigarette?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by ABBA e-Services.
That was a 5-second cigarette break. Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
Nope.
Everyone in this room, aside from probably Jaja and Margaret, are immigrants.
Right.
You included.
Yep. Sorry, you thought we'd get a laugh.
I was just setting it up.
Yeah, carry on. No, yeah, we're all immigrants.
Right? But third world, that's who we are. That's where we came from. Not you.
This is the third world, though.
You?
The US is the third world.
Now.
Originally, it was the third world. The British colonized it, didn't they? It was.
Oh, sorry.
So,
no, of course, yeah.
Actually, I'd say this to my kids and my wife or anyone Americans I meet. Well, you came from Italy. Italy was a first world country, and you came into the third world. I mean, all it was,
right?
Buffalo and whiskey.
At the time that that was happening.
Yeah, but they came for a better life, but there wasn't that much here for them, you know.
Right.
So for probably, I would imagine, for the first generation, it was probably really hard, you know.
Why didn't you go back? Because that's the question I ask each and everyone in this room when we came to the States.
Well, at one point we were going to go back to London because I had a flat in London, so we considered it. But I didn't want to go back to what I'd escaped from. And two, I thought, maybe wrongly, that in America it's more difficult to judge someone's class or what they're about until you've spoken to them. In England or Britain, you can tell where someone comes from the moment they open their mouth.
Yeah.
They open their mouths. So I thought I'd give our kids a better chance. But my kids always say, why didn't you take us back there? So then they could learn to speak properly. So.
But, okay, pre-Margaret,
Right.
what was okay, it might intertwine with what we were talking about a while ago, but everybody has a journey when we come as immigrants. It's like...
Yeah, I've never liked living here.
Huh.
So, I mean... I will never be an American citizen. I don't want to be. You know, I'm Welsh, which I'm proud of because the Welsh have less blood on their hands than any of the other European-based colonies.
Right.
So I kind of like that. So I feel like I'm just here until I go back, till I get buried in Wales, you know. So I'm only here while we're together. So second she kicks me out, I'm going back. Which could be tomorrow.
Okay. Now, you're here. Let's talk about you being here. I wish you don't go back because we like you being here. Post-pandemic, I want to say that it's a new world out there. I'm excited for you. I mean, without the reveal of the new track, without talking about it, you're 64. When I turned 50, I felt that I'm like, that's it. What's there to do? Being face to face with you is an inspiration because here you are all excited about tomorrow.
Right.
Me, I'm kind of cautious about tomorrow.
But you have much as I have. You have 5 children.
Yes.
4 boys and a girl.
Uh-huh.
A beautiful young wife.
Yes.
What are you fucking whining about, bitch?
Exactly, right? You know what? Thank you.
No, but my happiness is all. I mean, essentially, we're artists, so you know we have needs to create, and we're happiest when we're creating. You know.
Yes.
So, and I think we've agreed that, or I've come to learn, and we've agreed that any time is fine. It's great to be creative.
Amen.
And to be alive. You know. So, I mean, I went through a long period where I was numb, destroyed. And I came out of that, you know.
Did drugs play a part in your life?
Not really, no. I mean, never casually. When I toured, sometimes I'd be given drugs, get fucked up, and regret it. But I'm beyond cigarettes. I don't really have an addictive personality, so I never had drugs as a crutch unless you regard alcohol as a crutch, which it is. But I don't think alcohol compares, at least, to cocaine or heroin or meth or whatever people are doing now, which is far worse. You know, we didn't die from one hit with fentanyl in it, whatever it is. You know,
right? Yeah.
So the risk wasn't there. You might have a fucking very nasty hangover for a day. But no, drugs didn't have a role in my life.
With regard to the, how you observe music nowadays and the electronics, the way it's arranged,
Right.
the way it's written, wherein it's just a riff,
Right.
as opposed to when we would make music, there are chords for the verse, for the pre-chorus, for the chorus.
Right.
We'd even go as far as writing a bridge.
Right. Well, it's funny because this guy I'm working with now, it's been really refreshing because I don't have to sit with a band and we don't have to figure out with what tempo we want it to be, and then we don't have to figure out the bridge, and then all songs were essentially the same, you know, intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, middle eight.
Yeah,
Get
middle,
the
yeah.
fuck out of here. Pay me. So, but
What's
I'm
it
working
now?
with this guy now. You can change things instantly. I can move a chorus. I can do this. And then I said, well, this is with the verbiage. It's changed because I said to him, well, that is now the pre-chorus. I'd sung a line, which was fucking brilliant in my humble. You could when they play this 10 years from now and it's sold 1 billion copies, they'll think, wow. So I said, yeah, now this is now the pre-chorus. You need to chop that, put it here and here and here. Now there's gonna be a middle eight, but we need something for the middle eight. I'll build something vocally and we'll work off that, or you'll be an inspiration as a musician. But it changes, and so it's so much easier to work now. You know, because I'm still come from old school. I won't let him use auto-tune or any of that bullshit. You know, I said, if I'm out of tune, out of time, that's the fucking singer. That's what it is. I don't want your fucking bullshit, you know. I mean, my daughter listens to a lot of modern music, and I can't bear it because...
Right?
Sing it. I want the emotion. I'd rather listen to Nick Cave than, you know... I don't name any names, I'll upset her. So yeah, I'm enjoying that part of it. So it's becoming a marriage, you know, of my old school, his new world, you know. But I'm not letting him get away with too much new world, you know. It's always going to be it's me there.
Collaborations. I mean,
Yeah.
are you into that?
I'm totally into it. I mean, I need someone to work with, but they need me more because it's me that comes up with a melody,
Right.
and I have to sing the fucking thing, and I have to write the lyric, and most of the time I have to arrange it, even in Gene Loves Jezebel. So a singer-writer's role is the most difficult role, I would assume. It's a lot to do. You have to write it, sing it, and perform it. You have to get a performance. And that performance can be very difficult to get. Ask any guitar player if they get a really great solo. They'll probably only ever play that solo once.
You know, that's true, though.
You know, Jimmy Page used to say, I remember Ian Hudson, we did the original Sweetest Thing. He played this the most outrageous guitar solo I've ever heard. Just mind-blowing, blew us all away. He could never repeat it for the record. So, but of course, all we had to do was go back to where we did the original demo. Even if it had been a 4-track, we could have just lifted it. But we didn't have the presence of mind because we were still pretty young then.
Yeah.
But looking back, that's what we should have done. The original Sweetest Thing is
Brent?
1,000 times better than that. Which we found, we used to demo everything, and you go. I worked with Steve Earle. We started a record together. This is country guy. He's a legend, and he said he's never been to a studio where it had a album button. I mean, every time you record something, it's recorded. You know.
There's no record button.
Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, there's the demo button. Let's press the demo. This is a demo. Right? Why would you walk anywhere with a microphone or an instrument and think you couldn't save it for eternity? Which is the beauty of the modern era, right?
Yes.
You can, you know. But I'm still like I take the stuff I have now and I'll use it my ancient iMac, you know, Apple, my GarageBand, okay? I'm a fucking retard, okay? So I'll have the basic track and then I'll finally figure out to get some kind of vocal reverb on this other track. And half the time I'll forget which track I'm on. I'll wipe out half. So, I mean, most people make records these days. I mean, I was just part of a record where people from all over the world contributed to a thing called Beauty and Chaos. It was the guy from the Mission in fucking Brazil, someone in fucking York in England, someone in Africa, just sending bits and pieces in. But I have to go to the studio because I cannot possibly figure out how to get one vocal track and just send it as an MP3, right? Which is what they're doing. But I do enjoy being in the studio, having said that. Like this time now I'm driving up, you know, to the coast to sing. And I'm in the room with a guy who's got a press record, not demo, record. And I'll sing it, and then I'll go, it's not quite right, so I got to come back, you know.
Okay. That part, it's not quite right. I gotta come back. Some people feel that pressure that they have to deliver.
I used to feel that way. That's what I was talking about earlier on. Now, if I say I'm not ready to do it, guess what's not happening?
Doing it.
Yeah. Is this a demo? If I'm doing it, press demo. But I have to be in the right frame set, and he's got to have the right sound.
And it's being fair,
Yeah,
right? Is it? How do I say it?
I don't know, but here's one of the worst things about me is that very often the very first thing I do, performance-wise, is the best.
The first one.
The very first time I do it, I will sing. I mean, all our early singles was all one takes, screaming, bruises, blah, blah, blah. But as I've got older and maybe, I wouldn't say more sophisticated, but maybe more analyzing, I need it more from it. So I could sing 2 great lines, and maybe the third one wouldn't be quite right, you know.
So wait,
I could say, yesterday, all my troubles seem so weird and gay, and I couldn't live with that. So I'd have to take it home, even though I could never sing a better line than yesterday, all our lives were weird and gay. Should you stay with that, or do you do what McCartney did and changed it? I don't know.
Right.
So I mean, I have to get performance and what I feel lyric that I can live with, where I can defend that lyric and think, yeah, I could not have done that any better, you know.
So this is happening in your head simultaneously while people are actually behind the mixing desk or in the studio, or people are there, time is running, time is moving. There's this conflict in your head. When do you say, guys?
Well, there you are. This is where I am now. Because the last thing I did, which is a great song, I mean, a really good song. I was under pressure when I went to the studio, and we had 3-4 hours to sing the vocal.
See, under pressure.
I'd get it done. But I couldn't do that. I said, no, we have to do it because I don't want to release anything that I'm not 100% behind, you know. Of all the records I've done, there's not one song any song I've ever done, no matter what you think of it, that I don't think is great. So I may be wrong, but it's my wrong. So now with this one, I'm super close to this one, but the trouble is I've got so many great lyrics that don't quite just turn the knife where it needs to be turned, you know. Doesn't cradle where it needs to cradle, doesn't... Even
if the people collaborating with you says...
The first take I have on this song where the lyric doesn't really tie up or not tie up, it's abstract. I mean, how many 80s songs where the lyric doesn't really mean anything? They say, oh, you just have to make your own impression of what it is. It's because the singer couldn't come up with the fucking lyric, you know. But this one that's where that is, where this is, where I say this, and it does pay off, but for me as a songwriter, I want it to pay off like a fucking novel.
Yes.
You know? It has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Has to tell a story.
Arc. Yeah.
Has to tell a story. It has to start here, and the time you get to the end of it, you're fucking shattered. It has to be like good sex, you know. So I'm told.
Saying it is very important to be able to feel it in your gut,
right,
and to be able to verbalize it regardless of what other people may perceive you to be or perceive the situation to be. It's important to go home to your wife and kids, and when asked, how did it go? Did go according to plan, but I'm happy because I was ready.
Yeah. Well, no, it isn't that even like that. Well, when I was in Gene Loves Jezebel, everything, we took off basically within weeks, months of walking into making a demo tape, getting a deal, coming off the door. Everyone did everything for us. It went from touring, getting paid, people opening doors for us, limousines, planes. We got bigger and bigger, better and better. Not massive, but you become so entitled. You don't learn what the road manager does. You don't learn what the accountant does. You don't learn what what the A&R guy does. You don't learn what the t-shirt guy does. You don't know what the truck driver does. You don't learn what the electrician does. You don't know what the road guy does. You're all about me. I'm the center of the fucking universe. Suck my dick, you know. So So I came out of that experience and suddenly I had to learn everything. I had to book a show. I didn't know what we were worth. I had to pay my players. I had to audition. I had to rehearse. I had to find a label. Then I had to suddenly, make decisions. Like my first tour of the Why Me record, I'd never done on my own. I didn't know what you had to pay. I had to rent a fucking small little truck. I didn't know what to pay anyone. My first band, guess how much I paid them?
How much? 0?
Guess how much I earned? Guess the only guy who got paid?
Who?
The road manager. Damn. But we were playing these tiny clubs. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't want to lose money. We had 6 shows which covered the entire United States. Our first show was in Chicago. So we didn't have a fucking clue. When on this tour we had a little. Initially, my wife and I were going to do it. We were going to take our little Westphalia Volkswagen, a Vanagon.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We bought this thing for $600. Middle of winter. We seriously discussed taking this on tour with the baby. This is how fucking ignorant I am. Is this true? This is how I'd come from being an ignorant little steel worker, becoming a rock star, and suddenly finding myself back to the little ignorant steel worker. Because I'd learned nothing. So suddenly I had to learn it. But guess what else happened? Suddenly I started driving. Suddenly I started figuring out how to route, how I could book a hotel room, how to not have to do a sound check and just do
a line check.
Yeah. So it became magical. It became empowering. Suddenly, if you can learn what other people do, it gives you so much humility,
I was going to say, that's when humility sets in. Gratitude, yes.
I did one, we once played, we did an MTV thing, and we played the Ritz, sold it out, and they had limousines for us, and we weren't used to this, We were God, silk satins, beautiful young men, And I told the limo driver to open the fucking roof up. We're driving through the Bronx, and I see a bunch of people. And to my the saddest thing I've ever done, I said, "Get a job, you bums," as a joke. Not realizing what a fucking asshole I was.
But that realization,
yeah, but it was bad when I think, fuck, even though I didn't mean it, but it was just to get a laugh. It's like, how fucking crazy is that? Get a job, you bums. Most of them.
Dang.
They should have shot me.
Humility and gratitude. Important, no? Very important.
Yeah, but I'm also more forgiving now because we all make fucking mistakes. It's part of life. My kids say things to me and I'm like, we'll see. It ain't easy, So
someone starting a band right now, or someone trying to get ahead in life, to get away from the rat race.
Right.
It's different now. There's the internet, there's social media, all that stuff. It was organic.
It's harder now, much harder now.
Because why?
Well, when I worked in the steel mill, I earned as much as my father. I could have bought a house, through a mortgage. No, my kids are all college educated. They can barely move out of home. The opportunities aren't there anymore, So I think anyone who makes it now, it's a fucking miracle. It takes a lot. You got to show some respect. The sadness, what I see, and maybe I'm wrong, is that a lot of the people that are super successful are empty. They're all celebrity, no talent, So we live in a curious age, I don't know. I wouldn't take away where I came from or what I went through. It was magical in so many ways, When we wanted to listen to new music, we'd all meet up at the local record store, pile through stuff and look at the sleeves and
right,
Then we go to each other's houses and play fucking vinyl. What do you think of this?
I know Virgin
fucking Doobie Brothers, man.
You could actually listen to everything at the record store. Put you on your headset.
I used to play. Me and my brother both loved Led Zeppelin, So we played them so much that we'd get scratches on the record, and the scratches became so essential to the song. There was, for example, like there's a song called "Bring It On Home." At the end of the song, he's going, "Bring it on home, bring it on home to me, babe." And the song at the end would have a, because we scratch played it so much, and I fell in love with it. And this preceded all the,
Yes.
It was sounded magical. Because in the old days, you'd have a part of a song. It might be a fucking Patsy Cline song, and there'd be one note, or Ronette's, and there'd be one note that fucking turned you inside out, made you melt, and you pick up that needle and you find that white spot and go, oh, and you would have to hear that. To hear it, you'd have to go, keep lifting this needle up. Now you just have a click, instantly hear it. But the joy of that, I mean, the amount of records that I loved just for, there's a Beach Boys song, there's an intro. The only part of the song I like is the intro, but I would buy that song just for those few notes,
Yeah, the tactile feeling of lifting the needle and all that stuff, right? As opposed to pressing it for 15 seconds back and 15 seconds forward is so different.
Right.
Have you seen Led Zeppelin live?
I saw him twice, 1975. I actually went from a night shift when I was 16, and queued up in a record store in Swansea in South Wales. And it's the first time I met like-minded kids who were into one band. I was there pretty early, probably 6:15, 7 o'clock in the morning. There must have been about 30 kids ahead of me. And in spaces, they all had these little mono cassette recorders playing,
Bootleggy.
It's like, I want to live breaks, mama got to move. But it was such a feeling of community, So it was magical,
Community. That seems to have gone out the window. It's all virtual community now.
Isn't it? It's very difficult.
I think it's going to come
I'm trying
back?
to think of the advantages. There is a great advantage from not meeting a person in person. I mean, you can be so fooled, abused, used, exploited, by the internet, Facebook, social media, Tinders, all those things, You really need to see and meet a person in flesh to have any idea. My kids have to meet the women in their lives and and men in their lives through fucking social platforms.
I know, the swipe left, swipe right.
But I mean, I'm off Facebook and all that now because you'd get into fucking discussions with people and then you'd meet them and you'd fucking think, what the fuck? I wouldn't give this person a second of my time in real life. And here I am, discussing fucking Trotsky and fucking marmalade, It's bizarre. So but we live in difficult times. You just come through COVID. My kids have lost 2 years of their teenage years. That's a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of growth, So, I don't know. I don't know. You need to socialize. You need to meet people, You have to hang out. You don't learn anything about someone purely from the words they write, or the fake fucking Photoshop image they put up.
The catfishing, all that stuff. Oh, that's real.
Scary.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But social media and your fan base. Because
that's a tricky thing, I have to, because after that, I've got a new agent and they want you to do that, but what they're asking me to do, or an artist to do, is to sell to them, to prostitute ourselves, basically, to sell them tickets, to create this false,
right,
this camaraderie, this false fucking legion,
That's a double-edged sword.
It's
it
too
is.
difficult.
Yeah.
Even when I remember in the 80s, I remember coming to America and they say, oh, you need to call this radio station to thank them for playing the record. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking call it. They don't want to play the record, don't fucking play it. But then they explain to me, well, you don't realize that a lot of these records are played through favors. Like, I can't remember what the system was called, but they basically...
Payola.
You decorate their house or send them a stripper and
Yeah,
they play your record. Which I said, well, that makes me less want to fucking speak to them. So,
true.
Yeah, fuck them.
One of the reasons why I want to do this podcast is because, I don't know if you experienced it, you're doing an interview with not all DJs, but there are DJs. You're doing an interview. They're asking you a question, and then when you're answering, they're doing all sorts of stuff. They're not paying attention to your answer, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so hypocritical, and it does exist.
Oh, it does. Well, you're unique because you're interviewing people that you like, how you have, an interest in. A lot of these DJs are doing jobs that they hate. And I mean, I can't speak of the modern era, but I remember in the day that it was very cutthroat there. They're all looking after their jobs, and if they weren't getting the hits, getting the commercials, then they would lose their jobs. So that's the pressure of capitalism, I guess. Yeah.
So speaking of capitalism, Spotify, iTunes, these streaming platforms, are you for it, against it?
If I sold 1 million records every time I put a record out, I might have an interest in it. To me, I hear two sides. For an established artist who gets 20 million hits and just makes, $500 is not good. But for a new artist who gets exposed suddenly, But I don't know. I think it's always artists never really made their money from record sales. It was always from live performances, generally. I mean, there are exceptions,
So will I see you again performing live, like a big tour, aside from New Wave Night 10? No, just
oh, no. That's all I can commit to is New Wave Night.
No, but seriously, I mean, are you guys planning a tour?
Well, touring's harder. The nearest thing we're getting to a tour so far is that we're playing, looking at San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, Salt Lake City. It's not a bona fide tour as such because no one's done that tour yet. This is the nearest, and we're just starting to do this because of all the COVID.
Yeah.
It's changed. We've done 2 shows in 2 years. None for, I think, 2 years, and then we did one a few months ago. I can't even remember. Some desert place. Where was it? Do you remember?
Arizona. You refused to.
El Centro.
Oh.
Which was magical. It was like 140 degrees. But it was a fun show.
So it was a hot show.
The only time you'll ever see a hot Gene Loves Jezebel show. And then we got... and then we did an 80s show, which was... But it was a full 120-minute set, so that was good,
That's yeah.
So, but when I can play, we're doing that cruise. And I refuse to do these 10-minute sets of these 80s things, some of them, just one in particular, but I'm not going to mention, but... I said, no, I don't want to play for less than an hour anymore, So he said, well, what if you can play for 75, 90 minutes? I said, okay, we'll do that.
Right.
So we're going to Barbados.
Ooh.
But I don't want to go. I don't like cruises, but...
Shoot.
But I'll enjoy, it'll be... I don't think I'll enjoy being on a boat, Bunch of fat goths,
Before we go, when you were recording back in the day, as Gene Loves Jezebel, and maybe this is a funny question, but I have to ask this question. Did you have to wear your makeup and your clothes in the studio?
Nope.
That just killed it, because all this time I thought, while looking at the album, I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, did they record this dressed like this in the studio?
Well, we would dress like that, but we wouldn't walk it. I mean, in the day, I refused to wear denims, jeans, okay? I wouldn't wear T-shirts. It would always have to be silks. So there was a degree of that.
Okay.
But I'd be no makeup. I didn't have time to do that. So, but when we lived in West Hollywood, Larrabee Street, we walked on the street once to... I don't remember where we were going, the bank, supermarket, whatever it was, my wife and I, and it's a famous studio. I think it's called Larrabee Studios. Larrabee. It's like 10 o'clock, 11 in the morning, okay? Beautiful sunny day, as it is every day. So guy steps out, immaculately dressed. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, okay? Immaculate.
Sharp.
Sharp, the boots, the suit, the fucking hair. Guess who it was?
Who?
Prince. That time in the morning. So I think he was a true professional. Immaculate. Wow. Blew my mind. And I've met a lot of people in my life, but never seen that before, which is a sign of absolute madness, of course. But to look that sharp, that's commendable.
Yeah.
Sign of madness, but...
Oh my God.
So that was wild.
If you had to do it all over again, would you have changed anything or keep it the same?
Well, I said earlier, I wouldn't do it. I would do, if I did it again, I'd do it on my own. So that's the only thing I would change. I would do it on my own. Yeah. I was perfectly happy. Even when we started, when I was in London, when no one else, I didn't know anyone in London. It was me against the world. I was the happiest person in the world. I put my first band together, which my brother, not Ian, were part of. And I was happy. So, I mean, I learned the lesson from the very first day. I was happier alone than I spent my whole life fucking nurturing when I should have been taking care of myself. There you are. Take care of yourself. That's what I say. It's not Ayn Rand, by the way.
Dang, that's the message right there. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Aston.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay.